Hi students, today we will learn how to answer chemistry questions properly and score more marks in your final exams. Trust me, sometimes students lose marks not because they don't know, but because of their small mistake. So let's fix that today. Before we talk about how to score more marks, let's first understand a very important thing, that how marks are lost. The first most important thing, sometimes not reading question carefully and you miss what the examiner is actually asking. The secondly, you forget to understand the keyword and you miss it. And in exam, keywords are very important. I will explain you how. Thirdly, your poor explanation can still make you to lose marks. Then come calculation errors, especially in chemistry. A small mistake or missing a step can affect your answer. And one more common habit, students leave answers blank, thinking they don't know. But even a small attempt can earn you mark. Let's start now. So the tip number one, black ink. It's better to write with black ink. Now you might be thinking, does it really matter? Yes, it does, because your exam papers are scanned and checked on a computer. Sometimes blue ink doesn't show clearly and your answer might not be visible properly. And imagine you wrote the correct answer, but the examiner can't see it clearly. You will lose mark for no reason. And even for diagrams, use a dark pencil so your lines are neat and visible. These are easy marks, so don't lose them for such a small reason. Okay? Now let's go for the tip number two. Read the question properly. Now let me ask you honestly. How many of you read the question once and immediately start writing? Be honest. Most students do this. And this is exactly where many students lose marks. So always read the question carefully, not just once. Read it properly and look for keywords. Ask yourself, what exactly is the examiner asking me to do? Let me give you a simple example. Let's say if the question says, give a use of graphite that depends on the ability of its layer. Now see the keywords. Give a use depends on the ability of its layer of atoms to move over each other. So if you write slippery, it's wrong. Why? Because that is the property. But if you write used as a lubricant, it's correct. So you see, just one small misunderstanding and you will lose marks. So please read carefully, understand the keyword, and then answer. It is useful to underline the keyword in a question as you read it. See, I've also done this, and I used to do this so that I won't miss out my answer. Tip number three, don't give half answer. This is very common mistake. Students write half answer and expect full marks. But in exam, that doesn't work. Let me show you an example. If the question is about metal, like use your knowledge of the structure of metals to explain how they conduct electricity. Many students just write down metals have free electrons. That is not enough. You need to explain it properly because examiners are looking for metals have positive ion. These are surrounded by moving electrons and these electrons carry charge. See? So this is the complete answer. So always ask yourself, have I explained properly? If not, add more point and make your answer complete. Okay. Now, next, this is very important tip that will make you to attempt paper easily. Understand command words. Many students actually know the answer but lose marks just because they don't understand what the question is asking. Let's make it very simple. If the question says define, give exact meaning. no extra story. If it says describe, what happens? Step by step. If it says explain, now this is important. Here, why means give reason that why it happens. And if it says predict, no need to guess, but based on your knowledge, what will happen next? So when you see explain, don't just write one line, give reason and concept. So always remember, understand question is half of the answer. Okay, let's see with some example. This is a question. Calcium carbide is ionic. Deduce the formula of the carbide. Now, the information given here that this is ionic compound. In the ionic compound, we have cation and anion. See, formula is given CaC2. Since it's an ionic compound, that means it is overall zero. For the calcium, we all know that it belongs to group 2, so its charge would be 2 plus. Being a compound, that means to make it overall 0, C2 must contain 2 minus. 2 minus charge, okay? So, what is the formula of carbide C2 with the 2 minus charge? This is the formula. See, we have deduced it from the given information. Next, ethyne is an unsaturated hydrocarbon. Ethyne is actually a compound with C triple bond C with 2H. This structure was given in the question as well. I haven't just copied it here. So ethyne is an unsaturated hydrocarbon. This is the information given. This is not in your syllabus, but they have given you the structure and they are giving you the information that it is unsaturated and it is hydrocarbon. We have done one unsaturated hydrocarbon, that was alkene, if you remember. Okay, alkene was a saturated hydrocarbon you did in the class. Okay, now the next question, explain why ethene is a hydrocarbon. We already know hydrocarbon means containing carbon and hydrogen only. Then suggest why ethyne is unsaturated. Why it is unsaturated? Unsaturation is due to the presence of carbon-carbon double or triple bond. In this case, this structure is given in which we have carbon triple bond carbon. So this is the reason that it is considered as unsaturated. Then the third question, aqueous bromine reacts with ethyne. Predict the color change. Since we know from the previous part that this is unsaturated, and for the unsaturation, orange bromine is going to decolorize. So we can answer this. See, so even if you are given with the new compound, but the information given can help you out to suggest, deduce, and predict the answers for these parts. Okay, tip number 5. Marks equals to points plus stick to the requirement. Many students write long answers but could not gain full marks. Why? Because they don't match the number of points with the mark. Take careful note of how many marks there are for a question. So always remember, marks equals to point and stick to what is asked. So these two together can really boost your marks. First rule, if a question is of 2 marks, you need 2 points. Second rule, if the questions state 2 properties, then write only 2, not more. Let's look at this one. The question says, state 2 properties of transition elements that are not shown by other metals. Now see, I have to write 2 properties not shown by other metals. Now the answer given might be they are good catalyst, okay? They form ions with different charges, okay? They do not conduct electricity. This is the wrong answer. These 2 points are correct, but this wrong answer can negate the effect of this correct one. and the numbers you are going to get is only 1 over here. Why? Because you are not sure. That is why you are guessing. The examiner can think that you are guessing because this is not a good strategy. Okay, see, this writing an extra answer, it cost you how? See, first you have wasted time. You have wasted the time of the exam, and examination have limited time. Second, this wrong point is going to make the examiner think that you are guessing. So what is the smart answer? The smart answer that you should write only 2 points which are correct. Okay? Even if one is incorrect, doesn't matter because you are going to get the score for your correct one. Okay? Now they are good catalysts and they form ions with different charges. That's it. Okay. Now another example. See, explain. Now this is explain how increasing the concentration of acid affects the rate of reaction, increasing the concentration between magnesium and hydrochloric acid. See what the examiners are looking for. Number one, the rate of reaction increases because the more concentrated the acid, the closer the acid together, particle together. Then the closer particle, the more frequent or successive collision here. See, write exactly what is asked, no more, no less. Okay, so all right, now we are going to look at something very important, real answers written by the students in their past exams. These are actual examiner examples. So this is exactly how the student lose or gain marks. I want you to think if I were in the exam, would I write something like this? This will help you to understand what examiner really expect. So let's learn directly from the real mistakes and real good answers. Now look at this example carefully. This question is from the 2025. Okay, state and explain the effect of increasing the temperature. State and explain are the command words, and the keywords we have to write effect of increasing the temperature on rate of the reaction. Now the answer is as temperature increases, the particle gain more energy and collide more frequently, hence rate of reaction increases. See what the examiner has mentioned here. Examiner has mentioned that the informations are missing and insufficient for credit. Why? Look at the marking scheme. The rate increases because particles move faster. Particles have more kinetic energy. In here, the student has not mentioned the kinetic energy. Okay. Then successful collisions. And he mentioned only more frequently, collision more frequent. Okay. Not the successful or the effective. This is the reason he could not score any marks here. Look at another answer. See the same question, another student, he wrote, the rate of reaction increases by increasing the temperature, the kinetic energy in the particle increases, so they collide more. See, this student scored only 1 mark out of 2 because he mentioned only the kinetic energy of particles. See, the bold particles, bold letters or the bold things need to be mentioned in the answers. Okay, so only 1 mark. Now look at this answer, which is complete and scored the 2 marks. Particle will gain kinetic energy. There will be more effective collision. See, effective collision, particles, kinetic energy, increasing the rate of reaction. All things are given here. So Always ask yourself, am I answering this question or just writing what I remember? Now look at the examiner comments. Almost all candidates appreciated that the rate would increase. Many discussed an increase in kinetic energy without relating it to the particles, or describe the frequency of the collision increasing rather than the success of the collision, because the particles may keep colliding frequently, but if the collision is not successful, the product cannot be formed. Okay, so success of the collision is a must. See, so write exactly what is asked, no more, no less. Your answer must be relevant, complete, and to the point. There is another example. Explain how diesel is separated from petroleum, and these are the points to write. Number one, fractional distillation or use of fractionating column. Petroleum is heated because they ask for how the diesel oil is separated. How? Then diesel collected at its boiling point because it's a liquid. Okay, so diesel oil is separated through fractional distillation of petroleum, where hydrocarbon of long chain are heated. Only the long chain? No, the whole petroleum is heated in a container, and the hydrocarbon with high density condenses and settle into downward friction, while smaller chain hydrocarbon at the are distilled through upper fraction. See, the question is little bit vague. It's not making any sense. So this is the reason out of 3, the student scored only 1 mark. See, only 1 tick, 1 mark. Let's move to the next answer. See, this student scored all 3 marks. Let's see how. Petroleum is put into a fractional column. Heat is provided until each hydrocarbon rises according to their boiling point, allowing them to be separated according to their boiling point. So this student has mentioned all the points, so scored 3 points. Look at the comments. The use of fractional distillation or a fractionating column was mentioned in many answers, although small proportion of the candidates referred to cracking instead. Many candidates then stated that the petroleum was heated and separated due to differences in boiling point. A common misconception was that diesel was heated rather than the petroleum, because petroleum is taken out from, is heated to get the diesel out of it, and that the differences in melting point or density allowed. Melting point is for the solid, not for the liquid. Okay, so this is the wrong thing. Okay, some candidate though thought that petroleum was petrol as opposed to crude oil. So these are the misconceptions which the examiner has gone through during their checking. Okay, your answer must be clear, logical, and make sense. Now, the tip number 6, calculation. All right, now let's talk about calculation, the part many students get scared of, but honestly, it's the easiest place to score marks. Very simple rule. Show your working step by step, not just write the final answer from the calculator, because if your final answer is wrong, but your method is correct, you can still get marks. In chemistry exams, showing your working is very important, and the examiner can still give you marks for the correct step. And one more important thing, use correct significant figures, because writing too many or too few can lose marks. So remember, steps matter more than just answer. Let me give you an example of this student. A sample of 1.35 gram of calcium is added to excess dilute ethanoic acid. Calculate the volume of hydrogen formed. Give your answer to 2 significant figures. Okay. Now the thing is that the First, this one is correct. Now, in this one, it should be 1:2, not 1. So this part is incorrect. So if a student is going to write the final answer, it's going to be incorrect. But if he showed the step, he can at least score the mark for this step. 1 mark for this step because the error has been carried forward. So that is why the answer is wrong. But the step is showing that this step is correct. So the student can get the score of this step. Tip number 7 is observation. Now, this is a very common mistake students make and lose marks. Students often get confused between observation and explanation. If the question says, what do you observe? Observation means that you need to write down what you see, hear, or feel, not what you think is happening. For example, instead of saying reaction happened, we should write a color change, a temperature change, bubble formation, feeling hot or cold. These are the things which are telling us that the reaction has happened. Do not write answer that reaction completed. How do you know reaction completed? There must be certain evidences. So we have to show those evidences which we have seen through our naked eyes that these things has happened. We can feel the hotness or coldness of the apparatus. We can see the color change. We can see the bubbles of the gas. Okay, so instead of writing gas is produced, you should write bubbles are seen because gas is produced is not the observation. This is the explanation. Okay, so you always think like a scientist. What exactly you see is going to be your observation. Tip number 8 is definition and spelling. Now, this one is very important for theory question. Always learn your definitions properly. For example, an acid is a proton donor. You might have studied it in your syllabus. Because when the examiner is checking your paper, the examiner keep the copy of your syllabus in front of you. So whatever is written in the syllabus, he will expect that answer from you. So do not write definition in your own wording, not half definition, but the exact scientific definition you should give. Okay? Yes, spelling. Correct spelling of chemical name is not always essential as long as they cannot be mistaken for other chemicals. Like if you are writing the name of any chemical and you have just missed E or A or I, but as long as we can understand the name, it is okay. We can give you the mark. Okay? But there are certain areas where we expect you to give the correct spelling. If you're asked to select the name of chemicals from a list, if in the exam a list is given, the examiner will expect that now you're going to write the spelling correctly because the list is right in front of you. You can see that name and write exact name from the list. So at that time, if you make a spelling mistake, it is going to lose your mark. Okay. And also watch out for small mistakes like specific chemicals. For example, ammonium and ammonia. See, ammonium is a cation. See, it has a positive charge on it. It's a cation. Whereas ammonia is a gas, a covalent gas. Okay. So if you write ammonium in place of ammonia or ammonia in place of ammonia, that is going to be wrong because these are two different chemicals. Another example is chlorine for chloride. Okay. Usually when you are writing the electrolysis half equation, the student can make a mistake of mixing up the chlorine and the chloride because the chloride ion will move to the anode and changes to chlorine gas. Okay. So these are the two different chemicals. Chlorine is a molecule, it's a gas, whereas chloride is an is a part of an ionic compound. It's an electrolyte, it's an ion, it's an anion. Okay. Now see, there is an example. One more example I have taken. Butanoic acid and propanoic acid are two other carboxylic acids. State the molecular formula of butanoic acid. Butanoic means compound with 4 carbon. Now the student has written C3H7COOH. This is not a molecular formula. This is the reason he could not get any score. It is 0 out of 1. Why? Because its molecular formula is C4H8O2. As we know that the molecular formula give us exact number of atoms of each element present. But what the most of the students do, they write the structural formula like prime bonds or these. See? So what are the examiner comments? Candidates often gave a structural formula rather than a molecular formula, which is wrong. This is the reason the student could not get any score. See, even in your syllabus, it is written, state the structural formula as an empty case. They have given this thing as a structural formula. So that is why it gets wrong. So remember, the right concept, but the wrong format is not going to give you any mark. Okay? Because examiner is checking. Do you understand the difference? Can you follow the instructions properly? So always read the command carefully. If it says molecular formula, write only that. And if it says structure formula, then draw or show structure. This is where many good students lose easy marks. Okay. Then tip number 9, check your answer. Before you submit your paper, just take 2 to 5 minutes and check your answers, which are detailed, like explain and describe. Ask yourself, does my answer make any sense? Okay, because sometimes students contradict themselves. And you can ask yourself, did I contradict myself anywhere? For example, let's say on adding ammonia, a soluble blue precipitate is formed. This is a wrong statement. Why? Because a precipitate is an insoluble particle, always. Okay? And you are saying, or the candidate is saying, on adding ammonia, a soluble blue precipitate is formed. How can a precipitate be soluble as, see, this is wrong because the precipitate by definition is insoluble. So what could be the clear answer? The clear answer would be like, on adding ammonia, a light blue precipitate is formed and the precipitate dissolve in excess ammonia to make solution. So always make sure your answer are clear, logical, and make sense. One small contradiction can cost you marks. Trust me, these small checks can save your marks. Now, next, see over here. This is an example for one more question. Iron nails are galvanized with zinc to prevent rusting. Explain 2 ways in which galvanized iron nails with zinc prevent rusting. So you need to write 2 ways of prevent rusting using zinc. Okay. Now iron nails are galvanized with zinc as zinc is above iron. Let's see the marking scheme. Yes. See what are the things? Zinc form protective layer, prevent oxygen reaching the surface. Zinc more reactive, zinc corrodes in preference to iron. Okay. Now in this whole question, iron in reactivity series, so its particle react more quickly to rust than iron. To rust, okay, the zinc is used to prevent rusting, providing sacrificial protection to iron by rusting itself. Moreover, even after rusting, zinc protects iron, being the best product for galvanizing iron. See, all question is vague. Nothing is so clear. Okay, this is the reason. The student got only 1 mark out of 3. See, only 1 tick is visible. Let's see one more answer. See, the answer is just in 3 lines, but even then the student got 2 score. Zinc forms an oxide layer, okay, over the surface. So no direct contact with oxygen or water. Okay, 2 points given. So he scored 2 marks. What are the examiner comments here? Candidates were more likely to explain sacrificial protection than galvanization, because galvanization as a barrier protection. A common misconception was to refer to zinc rusting instead of iron. The zinc is corroding, not rusting. Okay, however, zinc corroding rather than iron was given credit. Okay, when describing barrier protection, candidates often refer to the layer stopping the reaction between oxygen and water with iron rather than barrier preventing the oxygen and water reaching the iron. See, this is the main difference. Some answers were quite confused describing sacrificial protection and barrier protection together as though they are the same, though they are not. Okay, now tip number 10. This is the last tip. No, writing no reaction is okay. And finally, it's a very interesting tip. Sometimes students think every question must have a reaction, but that's not true. Don't panic if nothing happens. Sometimes the correct answer is no reaction. For example, if two substances do not react, just write it confidently. Don't try to force a reaction just because you feel something should happen. Remember, if there is no reaction, write it clearly and you still get marked. Don't be afraid. For example, write down the products of the reaction, if any. See, the question is itself mentioning if any between iodine and potassium chloride and chlorine and potassium bromide. Now, over here, these are the displacement reaction, and we know iodine and chloride. See, this is the chloride salt, and this one is iodine itself. Iodine, being less reactive, cannot displace chloride from its salt. That means over here, you should not leave it blank. You should write no reaction. Why? Because we know iodine cannot displace. But in the case of chlorine and potassium bromide, C, you can write, okay, chlorine can displace, making the bromine and potassium chloride. So that's it. That means the reaction is taking place. Okay, we can write the product, but in the first one, no reaction. So I can write no reaction. See, now these are the top 5 golden rules for scoring in the chemistry. Number 1, always read the question carefully. Don't rush. Every word matters. Ask yourself, what is this question really asking? Second, understand the command words. Words like explain, state, compare tell you exactly what to do. For example, if it says state two properties, you only write two, nothing extra. Third, remember, marks equals to point. Each mark is like a point in a game. Be clear and precise so you get all the points. Fourth, stick to what is asked. Don't write extra information. Focus only on what the question wants. Finally, write correct observation. If it says, what do you observe? Write only what you can see or feel, like color change, gas release. Follow these simple steps, and I promise your chemistry answers will be much stronger. So remember, it's not just about studying hard, it's about attempting smartly. Make small changes in your habits and you'll see a big difference in your marks. Best of luck. You can do it. If you found this helpful, like, share, and subscribe for more easy chemistry tips. And don't forget, practice makes perfect. If you need any more easy tips, comment me. I'll do that for you. Thank you.